All right, everyone, we're going to go ahead and get started. We've still got a few people logging into the webinar, but as I mentioned before, we paused there. There was some confusion a few days ago when Messer held its symposium for special needs plans and education for the agents. And just wanted to thank Robert for going above and beyond with us today to come back and go over some of the questions that were raised during that meeting. And obviously, we'll do his presentation. And if you have questions at the end, we'll do a Q&A for you. But hopefully, we'll get everything covered today so that you guys will understand how this plan works with people that aren't fully qualified, Medicare and Medicaid, but those that qualify for partial assistance. And again, if you do have those questions, you can save them till the end, and we'll try to address those. And then if you'd like to send myself an email or Robert, we'll provide that information to you as we close out the day as well. And I think Robert has some dates that he may share for some locations where he's been in place to have a cup of coffee and just to get to know agents as he's relatively new to our market. But again, I want to thank Cigna HealthSpring. The plan we're going to talk about today is the Total Care Direct. And the H number on that, ladies and gentlemen, is H9725003. So in the event that you work the counties that Robert will go over with us, that coverage area, this is definitely something that you want to have in your portfolio to help those clients that you have that are in the most need. And this is something that we really enjoy helping to educate you, the agent, on and provide those services to you so you can help this segment of our Medicare population that does need our help, maybe more than some of the others do. So if you don't have the contract, please make sure that you take a few minutes to log into your Sure LC account with Messer Financial Group and select it. Very easy to do with online contracting. And Cigna HealthSpring has worked very hard since they've come back from a little bit of an issue with some sanctions last year to try to clean up anything that they've had as far as getting agents appointed and ready to sell very quickly. So we're thankful to them for doing that. With that, I'm going to turn this over to my good friend Robert Lawson, and hope you guys enjoy today's webinar on the Cigna Total Care Direct Plan in North Carolina. Robert, you ready?
I am, Jeff.
All right, take it away, buddy. We appreciate it.
Good stuff. Appreciate you. Thank you for the introduction, and man, I think he teed it up pretty well. So thank you, and I want to thank everybody on the call for just taking time out of your afternoon just to learn a little bit more. You know, the old saying is knowledge is power, and so if we can educate you and sharpen you a little bit more to be able to be more effective, you know, out in the field. But I want to step back a little bit and say thanks to Messer, thanks to Jeff. You know, I just think it speaks volumes to what Messer's trying to accomplish. I'll be honest with you, I work with a lot of different agencies and FMOs, but no one has been more proactive in educating their agents about this little niche of, you know, the total care plan, but us taking partials. And I just think it speaks volumes that they want to, you know, we've already done a couple seminars, but now we're coming back to make sure everybody gets it, because, you know, I was an agent for 7 years, and face it, you know, when you're contracted with a lot of companies, it is hard to keep everybody straight. But sometimes the more you hear it, you know, you'll pick up little things like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. But so thank you, Jeff, for your partnership, and thank you for being proactive. And you know, if you've been with Messer for a long time, then you know why they're so successful in the industry. And if you're just here a short period of time, hopefully it just reiterates that you made a great decision to be with a great organization. So with that being said, I'm not going to go into a whole lot of details. I learned a long time ago when you're speaking to be bold, be brief, and be gone. So I'm going to be brief, and I just want to share a couple things. And I've got, I think, 25 slides. I'm going to probably scoot through a lot of these, and I'm just going to try to get into the nuts and bolts, and really want to help you to be sharp in the field if you ever run across what you might think could be a partial dual eligible, or I should say a partial eligible, because like Jeff said, there has been a little bit of confusion, and I can tell based upon some of the questions that I get at these little trainings that I'm doing out in, you know, different counties, that there's still a little bit of confusion as to what partial Medicaid means as opposed to partial LIS or partial extra help. just understand those two, things are definitely different. So let me just go through a couple slides here. And like I said, I might scoot through a couple of these and I'll just get into the nitty gritty. If by chance you're at home, I just thought about this. If you're a chance by home or you're out in the field or in your car and you have the kit in front of you, I might reference a couple page numbers. And if you don't have the kit, I'll reference some pages that I think might be, important to you. I'm not going to go through these here real quick. I want to get into, bear with me just a second here. Okay, so let's spend a little bit of time on this real quick. Like Jeff said, we're the only carrier in the state, as far as that I know of, that offers the total care plan dual SNP to partial eligibles. Okay, now here's what I'll tell you about this, and some of you probably already know this, is that when you have full Medicaid in the state of Medicare, Medicaid in the state of North Carolina, you get a card. They call it a gray card from the county assistance office or the social services office. The mystery of all this, or the, how do you put it, the extra steps you have to take to find a partial, which I'll get into in just a minute, is that partial Medicaid do not get a card. Okay, so this is where it's a little, how do you put it, I don't want to say a mystery, but it's a little extra steps to be able to say, okay, I can make sure that this person definitely is a partial Medicaid and they're eligible for this dual SNP plan. So let me just go ahead and get into the nuts and bolts of that real quick. So if you're out there on an appointment, and obviously in your fact finding, you feel like this person, might be either a dual eligible or partial eligible, but you're not sure yet, then here's a couple steps that you may want to take. Now, some of you may have easier steps than these, and if you do, go for it. I'll just share, how I would train it and teach it. But obviously, there's different ways to, skin a cat. So if I'm in a home and I'm talking with somebody, and we're talking Medicare Advantage, and I'm asking questions, and I figure out that they don't have, or they're not paying for their Medicare Part B. That's going to be my first indicator or flag that says, okay, this person might be a partial eligible. Now, maybe my next question is, well, Betty, do you have a Medicaid card from the state of North Carolina or from your county assistance office or social services office? And if she comes back to me and says, yes, I do, well, then we know that that's a full Medicaid, and they obviously can go on 3 different plans, ours, United's, or Humana's. But if that person comes back and says, no, I don't have a card, and they might even tell you, I don't have Medicaid, but yet you've determined that they do have their Part B being paid for, and you've asked about, how much they pay for prescriptions, and you kind of know at that point, well, they have some sort of level of LIS, if not 100%. So in that point right there, this is where you got to take a couple extra steps, because a lot of members, they don't even know that they themselves are a partial Medicaid. Okay, again, not partial extra help, not partial LIS, partial Medicaid. They're 2 different things. So what you have to do is you have to determine if they're partial. And here's what I'm going to recommend. If you don't have their Medicaid number and you try to call our HAL assistant line, you're not going to get anywhere. So you're going to have that Medicaid number. So where do you get it? Well, some of you might have ways of getting that, and that's great. Keep doing what you're doing. The way I would train it, because obviously I work for Cigna HealthSpring, is that you contact the local social services office where that person resides. Now you have to have that person with you, either on the 3-way call or in the home sitting with you. Call them. Hopefully you'll get through. That's probably the tough part. Get through and get their Medicaid number, or ask them, hey, does this person have Medicaid? And they might share with you, yep, they have Medicaid, partial. And you could ask, do they have partial or full? and they'll probably tell you, well, they have partial. So once you determine that, you grab their, ask for their Medicaid number, and then you call into HAL just to verify one more time that they definitely are qualified for the total care plan. So you call HAL, request the eligibility, give them the Medicaid number. Obviously, you have to, again, have that person there with you, and they can determine for sure if that person is partial, and at that point, if they can come onto our plan. Jeff, before I go on any further, I know we were going to do questions at the end. Do you think this would be a good time to answer any questions at this point?
I don't see anything popping up, but I think if we go back over that again, so just to be clear, you're in the home doing the needs analysis, and once you determine, or you feel like based on some of the answers maybe they've given you with regards to income, or they may say, I have this gray card, but I don't know what it means, or I don't know what Medicaid means, then we want to call the Office of Social Services with the client, because you have to have them there to request that information to be given out. And then from there, we could move forward, right?
Correct. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, the reason, Jeff, I was saying to call HAL, kind of is the last thing I want an agent doing is filling out an app and, for whatever reason, it gets kicked back. So if they'll do one extra step in the home, call HAL, have that Medicaid number, verify that, yes, this person can definitely come on to our total care plan. That way that, we know that app is good and it's going to go right on through. So that's why I said to go ahead and, call HAL at that point to make sure.
Absolutely. And I would encourage people when they're setting the appointments to make sure that they ask that the client that they're going to see has this type of information with them if they are aware of it, so that when you do arrive, it just makes the process that much quicker.
Yeah, that's a great, yeah. Setting it up is a big thing. That's great. Yeah, I didn't think about that, but having those kind of things out would make the appointment go a lot, quicker and smoother for sure. So, well, with that being said, let me go ahead and go a little bit further here. This is just a nice slide. And Jeff, I don't know. I think you all have this presentation. So, but if you don't, I can re-email it to you and give you this. But this is kind of a nice, a nice slide that tells you about the income limits. Here's what I'll tell you about this. On page 33 of the sales kit, if you have that in front of you, and if not, just write this down. I'm sorry, let me back up. Page 42. Page 42 of our book goes into the programs that we would include as being full or partial. Okay, so I think it's the QI1, the SlimB, and the QMB, and that's right in the middle of the page on page 42. My suggestion is this: don't get too hung up on those different levels. Just know that a full Medicaid, obviously, and a partial can go on the plan. So one or the other. I don't think a beneficiary is going to know where they, fall within those levels anyway. So just to keep it simple, I think I would do it that way. Let's talk about this here. So page 33 of the book. Well, let me do this. Let me back up. I'm sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself here. So where do you find dual eligibles or partial dual eligibles? Okay. I mean, they're everywhere, but these are just a couple areas that we wrote: urban areas, low income areas, discount and thrift stores, food pantries. Let me stop at food pantries. In Pennsylvania, when I was an agent, or for the last 7-8 years, I did a lot of business at food pantries, and I developed great relationships. It took time; it didn't happen overnight. But once my food pantries were in place, I would literally write 3 to 4 apps a week just on food pantries. And the cool thing about that is I wasn't paying for a lead drop, which I'm not opposed to that because I've done that many times as well. But this was a great way to get free leads, and it was a great referral place as well. So food pantries, soup kitchens, food banks, I'm sure there's things that I'm going to list here that you know of, and that's great. So again, you just got to be creative. They're all over the place. Like I said, you just got to get good at finding them. Okay, I'm just going to keep going, guys. I didn't want this to take too long. I'll just point this out on this slide here. We're just really promoting from January 1st to March, I believe March 31st. Yeah, our 360 exam. It's a great way to do preventive care for our members. It's another way for you as an agent if you want to reach out to your clients just to touch them. All about the high touch, right? Hold on, what was that there? All right, so there's just if you're not familiar with some of the hospitals that we have. Okay, this is one I wanted to get to as well. Some of the slides to me are a little more important when it comes down to just getting to the nitty gritty. So on page 33 in the book is the monthly premium. And when I first looked at this, it was a little confusing to me. And I thought, well, if it's confusing to me, it's going to be confusing to agents. So when I looked at that monthly premium, oh, hold on a second. Sorry about that. When I looked at the monthly premium, 0 to 28.90, I was like, is there some sort of sliding scale? Well, there is, and I thought it was based on their Medicaid level. But as you can see from this slide, the 0 to 28.90 is based upon their LIS level. So I think, again, and I've talked to a lot of agents these last several weeks who kind of deal in the dual market, and we all kind of agreed that you probably would be hard pressed to find somebody who has partial Medicaid that's not 100% LIS. I'm sure they're out there. I don't remember if I've ever found one, and I still in Pennsylvania today, I have hundreds of people on the books that I wrote many years ago, and a lot of those were partials. I don't remember any of them not being 100% LIS. I'm sure it happens. It seems kind of odd to me because of their income is definitely low enough for 100% LIS. But again, so if you do run into those, you can obviously see the breakdown of what the monthly premium would be if they did have these different levels of LIS. Again, not to be confused with Medicaid. This is now we're talking about their drug level coverage, for extra help in LIS. Okay. There's our agent assistant line. That's a great resource for you as an agent. Make sure you put that in your phone, and for eligibility, for providers, all kinds of great reasons to call them. I don't mind being called, but sometimes if I'm on the road or I'm doing a webinar, you might not be able to get a hold of me and as quickly as you might get from Hal. It's just some of our value-added benefits. Before I get into all the benefits, let me point this out. And I probably should have put a slide on this, and forgive me for not doing this. But I think you can get a visualization on this. So on page 34 of our sales kit book, it starts to get into the benefits. Okay. So I'm just going to point this out. I think you'll get a visual, or if you have it in front of you, you can picture this. So the first benefit that I look at is our inpatient hospital coverage. And it says 0 or $295 copay per day, days 1 through 6. Again, when I first looked at that, it was a little confusing to me because I thought there might be is is there a sliding scale of, of where somebody would fall based upon Medicaid? And so I was really, getting off into the weeds, and somebody internally squared me away and they said, no, Robert, the 0 is for somebody who is full Medicaid. The 295 is for somebody who's partial. It's either or. There's nothing in between. So that kind of squared things away. So let me just explain that. If you're looking through the summary of benefits and you're explaining that to a member, if you see 0 or, and whatever that is after the or is what a partial Medicaid eligible would pay for that service. Just want to be clear on that. So as you go through the benefit book, you'll see different, you'll see the 0 or. Now, sometimes you're going to see a benefit like the PCP, for example. The PCP is 0. There's no 0 or, so it's obviously a 0 copay for full or partial. And another great benefit is specialist copay on this plan is also 0. And there's no or in that, so it's 0 for both full or partial Medicaid. So that's a great benefit. A lot of these folks are seeing numerous specialists per month, and if you could give them a 0 copay to their specialist, they're going to be pretty happy. I'm just looking at the book, and again, I apologize, I don't have a slide for that, but again, I think most of you have seen summary of benefits, can get a visualization of what I'm talking about. Of course, labs are 0, x-rays are 0, hearing is 0, gives a $700 per year benefit. I think that's on the next slide there, I think. Yeah, okay. I did put that on there, so I'll back up a little bit. So of course, Silver and Fit benefit, our dentals through our DentaQuest network, they get a preventive and comprehensive coverage of $2,000. That's again, think about this. This person is a partial Medicaid eligible. They're 100% LIS. They're paying 0 for the plan, and now they get $2,000 of coverage. So that's a pretty strong benefit. They also get a vision plan through our Superior Vision Network, and again, 0 copay for the exam and $150 allowance every year, for glasses. Some people ask me, do you cover dentures? Yes, dentures are covered, crowns are covered. Again, it's a pretty good dental plan. There's the hearing benefit, OTC benefit, $90 every quarter with a rollover feature. Of course, they have to use that by the end of the year. Transportation, we use the Access to Care, 40 one-way trips, again, 0 copay for that. In case you're not familiar with what we cover, or if you just need a refresher, these are the counties that we're in, kind of right up the 85 corridor. I'm not putting South Carolina in here today because we're really talking about the total care, and the total care SNP plan is not offered at this point in South Carolina. Oh yeah, I did put it in there. But I did mention it's not being sold there. But there's our footprint in South Carolina. Jeff, really, that's about it. Like I said, I wanted to keep it short, to the point. Any questions, any concerns, or anything like that?
Yeah, we've had a question pop up about the dental network. Can you go back over that? What's there in terms of providers inside the North Carolina footprint? And again, everyone, just to make that perfectly clear, this plan is not offered in the South Carolina HealthSpring footprint, so don't want any confusion there. So let's go back and talk about the dental for just a minute.
Sure, absolutely. So let's take, I don't know, let's just say Gaston County, for example. Let's say you're selling in Gaston County, and obviously, let's say they're partial and everything's looking good, like this would be a good fit for them, doctors and everything. You're just like, hey, this is a good fit. and now you're talking about the dental. So they would need to use the DentaQuest network. So the way you would find that is through our broker portal. Okay, that's where you do your certifications, and that's going to fall under the resource library. And once you're in the resource library, I believe it's under pre-sale or sale. Like I said, I'm not exactly sure where that's at, to be honest with you, because there's so much there, to be honest with you. But there is a section there about the dental supplemental benefit, and it gives you phone numbers and everything and where to look up the network. But it's really pretty simple. I think it's just DentaQuest, www.dentaquest.com, and then you would look up the providers that way in the county that you're in. And once you found that, those are the ones that you would obviously refer your client to.
Okay. And then let's go back over one more time about how LIS would affect the premium that is listed on the plan, because I do think that does create some confusion. So there is a possibility that I could be a partial qualifier but not be on 100% LIS, even though that's small. So let's say I was at 75%. What would I pay for the plan and inside of the plan for any of the benefits?
Right. So at 75%, that client would pay $7.20
Okay.
per month.
Beautiful. All right. Can you go over, so we did the dental, did the, what are some of the major advantages, Robert, of doing this versus maybe some of the other plans that are in the area that I would also apply that LIS benefit to that aren't partial qualifier plans?
Say that again, Jeff.
Well, like on the inpatient hospital, I think is one of the things that we've talked about.
Yeah.
That's significantly more affordable for clients that choose this plan. So we'll maybe just talk about some of the benefits that somebody would have by taking this plan versus some of the other competitors in the market.
Sure.
That they would only have to rely on the LIS.
Sure. Excellent. So you might obviously, when you roll up on somebody, either they could be brand new to Medicaid. There's all kinds of scenarios, right? They might already have a plan. They might already just have a regular PPO or an HMO plan. And you go in there and you verify that they're partial eligible or partial Medicaid, and this might be a good fit for them. You obviously you're going to have to do your own benefit comparison as far as what they're currently on and what this offers. But I guess because I was in the industry for a long time, and I don't know what every plan looks like, and obviously I didn't see all the plans that came out this year and all the new changes. However, let's look at the inpatient hospitalization for a moment. So if let's say the partial that you're talking with kind of balks at that $295 copay days 1 through 6, which they might. And I guess at that point, what I would do is find out what they're currently on. Obviously, if they're on original Medicare, the deductible for inpatient hospitalization is it $1,320 or $1,380? Anybody know? I think it's $1,320, just for the sake of argument. Well, heck, I probably have it in this book. Hold on a second. My whole point is that if somebody has original Medicare, and let's just say they have a PDP card, which does happen a lot, and they're partial eligible, then, and if they're like, wow, that $295 per day is quite a bit, well, then I would educate them and just say, hey, if you're on original Medicare, hold on, I think I have it right here. Yeah, I'm sorry, it's $1,340. So if somebody has original Medicare, it's that if they're in the hospital one day, inpatient, they're going to get billed for $1,340. And a lot of people just don't even know that. And of course, the other thing I would mention to that person is, with original Medicare, there is no out-of-pocket maximum. And I would share with them that, at least on this, there's this, a $6,700 out-of-pocket maximum. So that's one way I would overcome that as far as that goes. Some of the other benefits that I would kind of point out, obviously all the, zero specialist copay. I mean, that's a strong benefit right there that I don't know other carriers would have for a partial. Well, they're obviously we're the only ones that do partial, so I think that's a unique, benefit to us. Jeff, the other thing I saw here, I think this is pretty powerful as well. On page 38 is the rehabilitation services. Think about the people that are special needs that need rehabilitation with occupational therapy, physical therapy. On this plan here, they're going to get a zero copay for those types of therapies. So obviously, we all know typically we see these people, they're getting therapy for 3 times a week, for a certain period of time. And that to have a zero copay for them would definitely save them a lot of money. Of course, the transportation, the gym, we've already kind of covered all of that. So I think that's where you can, and of course, the dental. I mean, $2,000 of comprehensive dental, I think, again, is some separators, again, when you're dealing with this partial, Medicaid that, again, some of these folks are already going to be on a plan, and which is probably a pretty decent plan, but this might give them that extra level of benefits for no more out of pocket that they're really looking for. Rather, it might be dental or vision or hearing or, the extra, OTC, which I know OTC seems to be a benefit everybody's doing now, even on the regular plan. So that may not be as much of a differentiator as it was before.
Well, I think the transportation is big, Robert. I think when you look at different plans that offer transportation, depending on where the client may or may not live, whether it's an urban area or
Yeah.
more of a rural area, that really can make a difference to somebody that maybe they are out in the sticks a little bit. It's a little bit harder for them to get to public transportation. So I think
Yeah.
41-way trips would be a big benefit. And then also, when you look at the over-the-counter items, $90 every 3 months, must be used one order per member per month, but the amount can roll over. So let's talk a little bit about where do I go to find that over-the-counter catalog, and how could I help my client order those things while I'm there at the home to kind of cement that relationship between me and the client so that they know that I'm there as their advocate for making sure they get all the benefits they qualify for.
Right. Jeff, as far as if they're not on the plan yet, I don't know if they can order that, but if they're, I believe that they're already on the plan, then obviously they can contact customer service and go ahead and get that catalog. But I'm thinking, when in our welcome packet, since that's already a benefit of theirs, they're definitely going to get that OTC catalog and to be able to order out of that. So, but if they didn't get it, then obviously I would be, if you need to do a three-way call to, to the customer service along with the member, and help them order that, then obviously you'd be calling the customer service number on the back of their card. Anything else you want to?
I get one as Robert? How would I get one as an agent? So maybe I want to include that once we've decided, or the client's decided this is the plan they want, and
Yeah.
we sign them up, and I let them know that I can come back to help them order it, and we want to go through that catalog. How would I get a copy of that
You could
as
do
an
that
agent?
through me, Jeff. If they're,
Okay.
yep, they can do
All
that
right.
through. If you wanted to go, if they wanted to come to you first, and you got to, let's say you got 25 agents that want that, let me know, and I can get that to you.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So hopefully everybody out there grabbed onto that, so that if you need one of those catalogs to include in your conversations with your clients, let us know, and we're happy to get one of those for you. I know that comes up a lot with people. They love the fact that they have over-the-counter benefits with the plans, but it's not always the easiest thing to look at. And when we're dealing with these folks that are challenged a little bit, sometimes color, sometimes pictures, anything that's very simple and easy and intuitive to use, I know the agents appreciate that when they're in the home. So again, if you need one of these catalogs, guys, let us know, and we're happy to get those for you. and take some time to go back into the agent portal, order some of these kits, or reach out to Robert or John. Make sure you ask for the H9725003, and they can help you get these shipped out to you, or pick them up while they do some of these coffee shop lunch and learns that Robert's doing now. And Robert, do you have anything that you'd like to add in addition to what we've gone over thus far?
No, not at all. Like I said, I'm definitely available if you have any further questions, for sure. But like I said, as far as my calendar goes, I think I'm been pretty good about sending out the day before of where I'm going to be at. But if you heard this is exactly what I'm sharing in those little meetings that I'm doing at Panera Bread or Dunkin' Donuts. And I'm pretty much just using the sales kit as the I don't have a PowerPoint there. I'm just using the sales kit as the training guide. But thank you. Yeah, I guess my last thing I'll say is thank you. And, hopefully this could be a little niche for you, and separate yourselves from, maybe other agents that are out there. It is a few extra steps, and it is the dual market. I said this in the meeting before. These are salt to the earth people. I think Jeff said it best. Sometimes they need a little more help, which is great. That's what, if you're called to serve, then you're going to love it. And yes, at the end of the day, it might be a little more work, a little more hand holding, and maybe you got to do a couple 3-way calls to get them, up and running. But believe me, they're great about referrals, and they're loyal, for sure. So with that being said, thank you very much for letting me share. And again, Jeff's got my information. I should have had a slide that had all my information on it, but I think you all see my emails. But if you're not contracted with us and you're not getting my emails, Jeff can put you in touch with me. And if we need to do a one-on-one or anything like that, I'd be glad to do that.
Yeah, what we'll do today for everybody that did attend, I'll have Robert send me the slide presentation, and we'll email that out to everybody, Robert, and we'll include your contact information, and make sure everybody has that for taking the time to spend with us today. Hopefully everybody stayed dry and somewhat warm today. We've now gotten a few days of winter back to us after some springtime weather. But want to encourage everybody to stop and think a little bit about the sales opportunities that present themselves, and also as you mentioned, Robert, the opportunity to serve. And what a great thing it is that you can earn a living and help some people that probably in all likelihood weren't even aware of some of the benefits that they qualify for. So what a great way to spend a day. Go back out into the community, talk to the doctors, talk to the pharmacists, find these little niches where you can work and provide a service to the community, and the community in turn will provide everything back to you that you need. If you need to get contracted, again, ladies and gentlemen, you can call here at the office, 866-568-9649 for some assistance. You can speak to somebody in producer support or ask to speak to one of the marketing directors. If you already have a Sure LC profile set up with us, make sure you go in and request the appointment. We fully expect that HealthSpring will continue to improve their product offerings. As hard to say this, but we'll roll right through summer and lock in, and we'll be right back getting ready for our annual enrollment period, which will be in October, which seems to be getting closer and closer, faster and faster every year that we do this. So again, if you have any questions, please reach out to us here at Messer. We'll send an email out to you today with the slide presentation and Robert's contact information. And if you need anything from us, again, please call us. That number again is 866-568-9649. And my extension is 752, ladies and gentlemen, if you need to speak to me directly. But again, producer support is there. They'll help you navigate your way through the agent portals and get those kits ordered and so forth and so on. So I want to thank everybody again. I want to thank Cigna HealthSpring. They're a great carrier partner for us, and they really have the best interest of the beneficiaries and you, the agents, in mind out in the field. So let's have a great close to our afternoon and have a safe week of compliant selling, and we'll talk to all you guys soon. Thanks again, Robert. And again, everyone, thank you for attending our Messer webinar series. Have a great day.